Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk about the field of awareness and how far it actually goes. Many of us believe that even our consciousness only exists within ourselves, but our awareness, our point blank consciousness source energy exists within everything. And so when you allow your consciousness to not only exist within inside this one human vessel, you allow everything around you to interconnect with your own being as a natural instrument that you would see through others. And this allows the great happening for you to realize that you are the same process in which you can observe through other beings in everyday waking life that are existing by their own. And when you realize that you are a happening just as much as everybody else, you begin to realize that your awakening is realizing that it is not only about you as in the separate egoic identity of who you believe yourself to be through thoughts. You are far more than the identity that constructs certain parts and pieces of who you are, which are ultimately false because they are entrapped to a sense of who you are. They are not actually parts of who you are. And therefore, when we truly understand that our existence is a field of awareness, we begin to understand that where this awareness comes from is the place of the unmanifest, which has been here way before this earth was even created. And so just when you allow yourself to connect with Mother Earth, you allow everything that simply is to come back to its natural source. Though nearly all parts of the day, nearly all times of our existence, we exist through an identity. We never actually allow ourselves to rest in our own source. And this can only be done when we realize that we have no doer, we have no individual doer, and that the so-called doer is something within a happening that is universal, that is happening on a universal scale. And when we realize this, we can truly surrender our identity concept to what simply is, which is what you can see everywhere around yourself, a universal happening. And to relinquish control of the ego is simply to not do more or to understand more that you are not the doer. It simply is something that happens automatically that you, as you may currently be thinking, have no control over. It is something that has to come from a universal source, a universal recognition that everything that is around you is ultimately you. You are doing everything that simply is. And the field of awareness is simply part of the, I guess you could say, limited condition of what this human existence is, or a personal existence, which is confined to a human vessel in which consciousness is stuck in right now. And so to really grasp the field of awareness is to realize that you can completely surrender to everything that simply is, while also understanding that you are fully supported in everyday life of not only co-creating but also working with the same conscious beings that are all around you. It's like the sun that exists within the sky, our awareness exists within everything that simply is devoidable of light or seems uninhabitable, in such a way that everything that is on this planet comes from and originates from consciousness, the unmanifest. And this gives way to the brilliant understanding that nothing in front of your field of awareness actually exists in its most pure state. And this allows you to truly understand that you are part of the manifestation, which is the universe experiencing itself. It has their own qualities to how they present themselves intellectually and during interactions. When we understand the same source of each and every being, we realize that we are doing everything around us. And when this hits in, the field of awareness begins to intermingle with other people's awareness. And on a deeper level, this connection takes place. And oftentimes many people will be able to feel it when you are in a pure state of consciousness and allowing of everything that's around you, the beings around you, your friends, your family around you will also catch on to this and become more open as if their own universal self is being shown to you. But at the same time, it's because only you are in connection with the source that you realize that their universal source is speaking to, and that there is no ego or sense of doership. You realize the ultimate truth, that is the underlying oneness and the appearances of everyday duality. And the human in its universal state, which is of pure consciousness, understands that it can ultimately have no control over any kind of result the mind creates, because in fact we are only searching and hoping for certain results when we are identified with the mind. And so the mind and every being else alike is under the same illusion that other people have a certain play in how results happen. Though in fact when you realize that they are your own selves, you begin to realize that as a whole collective, everyone is evolving. And you are not this little me on your own painful journey trying to evolve in this awakening seemingly. And so when you allow yourself to become universally in touch, you begin to realize that other people are here to help you on your awakening, just as much as you believe you can help yourself. And because when you realize that the universe is dishing the personal concept of you out of tests and tests of strength for you as consciousness to detach and transcend ultimately the duality of this life, you begin to realize that other people are just as in tune as you, and if not more. You begin to see that everything is the universe, and that there is no idea of how human consciousness should play out as if people are asleep and you are awake. There is no such thing. The universe is completely different from one day to the next. And so when we allow this broad idea of the universe presenting itself through every being, we allow this entire deconstruction or unfolding of what the universe simply is to the deepest truth, which is that you are everything and nothing. And so this is what your field of awareness is, realizing that you have the same instrument within you to realize it in everybody else. And this is what ultimately separates the ego outside of your bubble of awareness. This is what extinguishes all ideas of separation, because you realize that all ideas of separation, if any, would exist the same way they do in everybody else. And you realize that there is no need to fear this existence, because it is all a play. It is all a game to help consciousness evolve and realize its own self. So when the surrender does take place, you'll begin to realize that your awakening was realizing the dream that you believed yourself to be in. The entire idea of there being even a dream in the first place, a personal dream. Though in fact the dream is only personal to the person we believe ourselves to be. In fact, when we wake up, we realize that everything was much greater than it appeared to be, and that in fact everything had been going according to plan since the start of our perceived existence. If you got anything from this video, please subscribe, please like. Thank you again. Take care. Remember, don't take your own existence too seriously, and allow your heart to open to life and all that simply is around you. Much love.